Teaching kids about nature can be a beautiful and satisfying experience, but safety always has to come first. In this video, we'll look at the story of a family of 5 who enjoyed spending time outdoors. Together, the parents and the 3 very young children had gone on many adventures in the wild, but having a black bear following them put their courage, endurance, and knowledge to test. With danger so close by, Brighton and Michael Peachy showed some real parenting skills. It was the beginning of June 2022. Brighton Peachy, a lifestyle influencer and nature lover from Utah, and her family set off on a popular hiking trail in Whistler, British Columbia, Canada. Hiking and living outdoors with 3 small children, all aged between 1 and 6, can seem overly complicated, but not to Brighton and her husband Michael. They both adored the outdoors and everything it has to offer. From hiking, biking, camping, to rock climbing and kayaking, they were experienced in almost every type of outdoor activity, and so were their young sons. The family did all these activities together. It was simply their lifestyle. Occasionally, they would even live in a van and travel the world. Brighton and Michael were experienced, resourceful, and self-sufficient. They even designed and built their van themselves. A great array of skills is necessary when one chooses to live without the commodities and helpful technologies of the modern world. But Brighton and Michael made sure to be very well prepared. After all, they had the lives of their 3 young boys to account for. Sure, they wanted to raise the children amidst nature, but they also wanted to do so by teaching them to be respectful and aware that, out there, anything could go wrong. That is, without the proper amount of preparation. Even then, things could go from normal to terrifying in a second. Despite the glamorous and exciting look of her Instagram page, which was filled with videos of the family visiting amazing places or doing thrilling activities, Brighton was very responsible. In an Instagram post, she encouraged people who planned on taking their small children hiking to expect the best, but always plan for the worst. There's nothing as unpredictable as nature and young kids. Paired together, these two forces could lead to horrible events. Perhaps that's what Brighton and her husband Michael thought in mid-June 2022, when their peaceful hike was interrupted by a large black bear. The family wasn't on a remote trail. Instead, the 2 adults and 3 children were on a trail in Whistler, British Columbia. Located in the southern Pacific range of the Coast Mountains, some 78 miles north of Vancouver, Whistler is a beloved tourist destination. Over 2 million people visit the resort municipality annually. Alpine skiing and snowboarding are popular activities in winter, with hiking and mountain biking taking the spotlight in summer. The views are breathtaking, the hiking trails stunning, and so are the animals, although some of them are more dangerous than others. Different species find their home in Whistler, from otters and chipmunks to cougars and bears. In fact, as Brighton, Michael, and their family would find out, seeing black bears wandering through trails was not all that uncommon. From mid-March to November, the majestic animals are active and looking for food. There are about 50 black bears in Whistler. In June, the family was in Whistler too, and they were hiking. The day was bright and beautiful. The trees were vivid green, the path not too hard on the adventurers. Brighton was leading the way, walking with one of her sons ahead. Michael was a bit behind, carrying the couple's youngest son, a baby, on his back, and holding their oldest son's hand. As they made their way on the trail, they passed a large rock. They weren't too far away from it when Brighton saw a large black bear coming from behind the rock and slowly but steadily approaching them. Fear crept over the parents, but both Brighton and Michael were experienced and responsible, especially when it came to their children's well-being. Brighton immediately picked up Watson, her kid, who was walking with her ahead on the path. She knew picking up small children when encountering a bear was a must-do. The woman also took out her phone and started recording. Michael and the family's 2 other sons started walking up the trail slowly, trying to put some distance between them and the bear without alerting the animal. With a steady voice, Brighton told Michael, "Okay, he's following you, babe." The man and his oldest son briefly turned back to see it for themselves, and there it was, clear as the day. The black bear was walking toward them at a slow pace. It didn't seem aggressive, but who could tell whether that would change or not? The family surely didn't plan to wait around and see, and they didn't want to make the animal angry. They knew how to act and what to do. As her husband and two other sons kept walking towards her and away from the large animal, Brighton had to act. "Hey, bear," the woman shouted. Making yourself look bigger and more threatening to a black bear is the advised approach. The woman kept shouting, but the bear didn't seem to care at all. It kept following the man and their sons, who every now and then would glance over their shoulders. With the bear at a still somewhat safe distance, the man turned around and began shouting at the animal, too. The couple's oldest son took the opportunity to run a little toward his mother. Brighton told him not to run, her voice always calm and pleasant. The couple began shouting together and waving their arms, but all their attempts were fruitless. The bear seemed intent on following the family. Surprisingly enough, none of the three children were alarmed. They made no whimpering sounds. They didn't cry or move around erratically. It was like all of them, even the 1-year-old, knew to follow their parents' lead. Most likely, it was the young parents' own calm manner that helped reassure the kids. Michael then instructed his wife to keep walking up the trail, away from any potential danger. Yet again, Brighton asked the 6-year-old not to run. Meanwhile, the boy was relaxed. "Can we play dead yet? Can we play now?" the boy Griffin asked his mom. But as Brighton knew, playing dead is not advisable when encountering a black bear. "Walk faster, please," the woman told her son. Somehow, the bear managed to get closer. The parents were truly alarmed, and Michael tried to explain to Griffin that although the bear probably didn't want to bother them, they really didn't want to let it get closer. Michael then asked Griffin to get in front of him, explaining that asking questions wasn't really the thing to do at that moment. They first had to reach safety. All this time, the animal kept his steady pace behind. It wasn't aggressive, but it was relentless. Brighton Peachy turned the camera to herself, an anxious smile on her face. She was still holding tight to one of her two youngest sons, and then she ended the video. But the family's scary encounter didn't end there. As they kept walking, it was increasingly obvious that the bear wasn't going to just leave, and going back to their car wasn't an option, since the large animal was blocking the way. Going up the trail was the only option, and in doing so, Michael and Brighton had to remember to keep a steady pace. They kept shouting, but always in a calm manner. It was just the thing to do. Holding tight to their kids, they went on. And then they ran into another group of tourists. For a moment, they thought the bear would leave, scared away by the number of people. It didn't. They all hiked together, praying the bear wouldn't attack. Despite doing all the things they were supposed to, like picking up their small children, yelling, waving, and slowly moving away, the animal didn't budge, intent on following them. And then 20 minutes after the bear initially started to follow the family, it just disappeared. At that point, the family had been walking half a mile in order to get away from the animal. Making their way back to the parking lot was an equally tense experience, but they made it back safe, even stopping to film the rock where they'd first seen the bear. Back to safety with her husband and 3 sons okay, Brighton Peachy posted the videos on her social media accounts. The woman told her followers that the experience was scarier than the time she had been mock charged by a bear, because this time, her kids were with her, and she felt helpless. Brighton added that she and her husband try to be straightforward with their kids about the dangers of the outdoors. The woman said they were carrying bear spray, but they weren't carrying any firearms. According to the woman, they weren't experienced aims, so the odds of them being successful while being attacked by a bear were rather slim. The family later learned that the area had been closed before because of the bear's increasingly aggressive behavior. They felt lucky to be alive and well. Why do you think the bear kept following the family without being deterred by their efforts to scare it away? Let us know your theories in the comments.